Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I have something to come clean with. I am actually Australian and it's been a hard secret to keep in, but I figure it's about time you guys know. But in honor of being Australian, I thought I'd read my cousin's favorite books, who is Australian. His name's Jacob. Jacob Elordi, come on out. Can you imagine? I was lying. I don't know Jacob Elordi. I'm not his cousin, but I am Australian. I'm lying about that too. I thought it would still be fun to read a celebrity's favorite picks. So I'm gonna make it a fun little series on here. Every so often I will read a celebrity's favorite books. This video we're doing Jacob Elordi's because, as you all know, we see him quite often holding a book, doing the finest things a man could do with the book, just putting it in his back pocket. Hey. So let's get into it. Now, I did kind of an extensive amount of research before doing this video. The first thing I did was take a list of his top rated books, which I found on just a website that was like Jacob Elordi's top books for most favorite books. So I just took those down, wrote them out, and I got the rating of all of them. So I'll go ahead and put that right here. These are 3.6 and up, so he has some pretty good rated books. So initial thoughts on these books when I see them: I am intimidated. I'm not gonna lie, I feel like I'm a little scared. This is very much giving, I am an educated reader. I don't read for fun. So I'm scared because I'm a fun reader. Yes, I'll read my nonfiction books and yes, I'll enjoy them, but also like, give me a little romance in between because sometimes I just cannot do too much seriousness. And these were very serious books off of the bat. Based on these books, I also wanted to question what kind of person I think they are, because you can tell a lot by what someone reads. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I feel like he's a little bit of an elitist. You're telling me one of your favorite books is Odyssey? If I don't see one little fun book in there, then in my head, you are an elitist. And so that's what I get from Jacob Elordi's books. So then I looked at the ratings of the books and I based my desire on the books that I wanted to read in order. Then I looked at if I had any of the books already, because as you guys know, I am on a semi-book buying ban. I don't really want to buy any books unless kind of necessary. So the first ones that I actually did have with me were Donna Tartt's Secret History and The Cost of Living by Martina Majok. And then along the challenge, I was actually starting to read John Steinbeck's East of Eden online, but then I went to purchase this in store because I kept losing my place and it was just easier to have it as a book. Plus it's a classic, so it's not all that super expensive compared to the other ones. I thought it'd be fun because they are celebrities, and specifically Jacob is an actor. I decided to watch a lot of what he's in, so I've just kind of got most of the ones that I could find on streaming services, and I watched his filmography based on the ones that I could. I watched Wings of Fire, obviously Kissing Booth 1 through 3, because that was a while ago that I had watched those, so I'm pretty familiar with him. I watched Priscilla, Saltburn, and obviously Nate in Euphoria. Now that we have the backstory, I began to read. The first book that I started to read was Nausea by Jean-Paul Sartre, and that one was not my vibe. It just took too long for him to get into his existential crisis for me, and I got bored, so I stopped reading it. It was a short book, but I got like only 40 pages in and I was like, I can't finish this anymore. So I DNF'd that one. Unfortunately, my top pick was actually the worst one of this bunch. Moving on, the second book that I finished reading from Jacob Elordi's favorites was Donna Tartt's A Secret History. Again, if you saw my review video, you know how I feel about this one. I think I rated this like a 2 or 3 out of 10. I just did not like it at all. Very kind of almost racist undertones. Wasn't really my vibe. And I thought it'd be fun also to kind of match a character that I watched in his films to the book. If you've read The Secret History, then you clearly know that this is a book that he would read in Saltburn. 100%. It's very rich people do rich people things, and he is a rich person doing rich people things in Saltburn. So there you go. Even the character that Barry Keoghan plays also would devour this book up. I just know it. I know it. If you like Saltburn, you'll probably like this book. I like Saltburn more than I like this book, but I don't like it a lot. Book 2 that I finished was actually The Cost of Living by Martina Majok. I really like this one. It's a play, so it's formatted as such, very short read. It's only 150 pages, but again, in play format. A very heartwarming and sincere read. The character that I think would enjoy this book would probably be his character from Kissing Booth. I feel like he would be the guy who plays sports but is also very sensitive, and he on his free time reads sensitive books. If I created the character in my head based on what they've given us, that's the vibe I would get. But also I feel like maybe he wouldn't understand it because he's very privileged in that movie. He would read it, but it might go over his head. And the third book that I finished from Jacob Elordi's favorites is John Steinbeck's East of Eden. This one was actually not bad. It just took too long to get to where it needed to be. There was a lot of fluff writing. It's a retelling of the book of Genesis, so maybe that's why it was just a lot of people, characters, and introductions, but it wasn't bad. I honestly think his character Elvis would actually kind of enjoy this book a lot because he had his whole spiritual phase or whatever, so I feel like maybe he would have been into a retelling of it for sure. I want to give Nate some credit and say he might read it also, but I don't think so. He would maybe only read the parts that involved Kathy, and that's it. So if you've read this book, you know who Kathy is. She plays like quote unquote the devil of the book, and she is very Nate in Euphoria, so there you go. And I did watch one more movie which I feel like I have to talk about because it was just really interesting, and it was definitely one of his earlier movies, but it was from 2018. It's called Swinging Safari. It is an Australian movie, and when I say it's an Australian movie, I mean an Australian movie to the T. This man played the dumbest guy in the world.
All you've done is yell and sit there and look fat in your purple togs.
He was in Speedos, he was just vibing, and he was there on the beach looking handsome. That was his job. And he got paid to do it, and good for him. I wish I could do the same. I unfortunately am gonna have to say that that character, I can't remember his name, sorry, that character from Swinging Safari would not read a book in his life. He wouldn't touch one. I was curious to know also if any of these celebrity picks would be one of my top favorite books, and I am very surprised to say yes. And I say surprised because I'm actually kind of picky with my books. I do think The Cost of Living is a book that's going to stay on my mind for a long time. It already has. It's been a month since I finished it, and I already keep thinking about wanting to reread it because it was just so enjoyable and so short, very nice in between book. It did reach a 10 out of 10 for me, so you know, I'm shocked. Thank you, Jacob, for the recommendation. My next thing that I was curious about too was if I can see any of the characters that he plays in his films and shows as a character from the book. And I definitely can. Obviously, Saltburn, I feel like, is almost like he had to have been very much influenced by this book. If he read it first or if he read the second, then he probably saw the extreme similarities with this to Saltburn. I would say Bunny and the Secret History is actually very similar to Jacob's character in Saltburn. I don't know. That's maybe an interesting thing. I wish I could like ask in person and be like, do you find that you take inspiration from your books that you read to your characters that you show in like your movies and stuff? What happens if you just call Taylor up? If anyone knows Jacob Elordi, let me know the answer to that because I am actually very curious. And I can see how that would be influential also on a extreme subconscious level. I couldn't see any other inspiration being taken from these 3 books specifically, but I'm sure the others that he's mentioned as his favorite, he has taken inspiration from them. We'll just never know from me. I don't plan on reading any more of this guy's favorites. I will tell you that right now. Books I would recommend based on if you end up liking Jacob Elordi's favorite books. The first one would be On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong. Very, very similar vibe to these books specifically. I'm extremely shocked it's not part of his favorites already, but it was very existential. I think if Jacob has never read it, he would enjoy it. So Jacob, if you ever watch this, if you're ever with me, I will let you know firsthand that is a book you should read. Anything by Madison Miller I feel like would also be very interesting considering there seems to be a decent amount of Greek influence with Odyssey, Homer, The Secret History. For just another fun read, throwing it out there if he ever wants to not be questioning his life every 4 seconds as he's reading a book, I would recommend The Female Persuasion by Meg Wolitzer. It is one of my favorites. I feel like I could recommend that to everyone in general, but based off of the vibe, I would definitely recommend that book. I really, really enjoy that one. I feel like it's also a little bit existential, but in a more fun way, in a like a very girly pop way. So he may or may not enjoy that, but to me, I think anyone could enjoy that. If you like these books, you might want to give that one a try if you're looking for some fun. I will say this man likes to read books that yap. These two books specifically, and Nausea, because I only got 40 pages in, it was just so much yapping, and like just, it was, I don't even want to talk about it because I'm just going to be yapping about how they're yapping, and that doesn't make any sense. That was it. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. I thought it was kind of fun to make. Fun to go out of my comfort zone with books and see what other people enjoy, especially celebrities, because as much as I want to say I don't care about what they read, about what they do, it is definitely an interesting take to see what they enjoy on their free time. I had a lot of fun, even though I wasn't really enjoying reading this one too much, and I would jump in and out of enjoying this one. I think it was very cool to see that celebrities really do be reading like crazy books. I think that's really fun to know. I don't know. They're humans like us. Obviously, I'm not like putting them on a pedestal, but it's still interesting. I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to say here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day or night, whatever time you're watching this, rest of your week, rest of your life. Thank you so much. I will see you in the next video.